everybody. Welcome back to the Fallacious Truth. I've got something a bit different here today. I've got a story that I ran across. It's probably going to turn out to be a controversial one, so I'll try to make this as politically correct, even though realistically I am not politically correct at all. But I'll do my best to make this as politically correct as possible, so it doesn't flag anything on YouTube and get taken down here. So anyhow, sit back and let's take a look here. So I'm going to do my best to try not to give my opinion on this. Originally I thought this was about some chick trying to get her tubes tied, but apparently it isn't. It's about some young woman wanting to get fully sterilized. So at the age of 24, she wanted to get fully sterilized. She tried for 6 years. So at the age of 18, she started this drive, this search to try to find a doctor who would sterilize her. Now, first and foremost, I truly, ultimately do not care what you choose to do. I mean, if you're a young woman and you want to do this while, 9 chances out of 10, your feelings are going to change later on in life. That's just the way things are. I mean, quite honestly, I can see no logical reason for this. So it's, in my opinion, it's a purely emotional-based reaction and a purely emotional want or drive to do this, which is one of the reasons why it's so difficult for a doctor to want to do this. I would imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine that if they were to do a procedure like this young, and the woman comes back in X number of years and wants to have children, she could probably sue the doctor, claiming that the doctor didn't explain the ramifications of what she was doing completely and thoroughly to her at the time. I mean, quite honestly, if I was a doctor, I would be terrified for that reason alone to do a procedure like this on a woman this young. And really, if you think about it, you cannot blame doctors for being hesitant about doing something like this. I mean, if you take this a step further, you are taking the one thing away, the singular thing away that a woman can do that a man can't, and that is to have children. Despite modern belief, despite this gender switching nonsense, and yeah, I'm probably going to get dinged for that, but despite this gender switching nonsense, men cannot have children. It is impossible for a biological man to have children, and that's just the way it is. It's never going to change. But you're taking this one thing that truly makes a woman different from a man, and you're completely destroying it for the entirety of this young woman's life, and she's only 24. And I'm also not talking about the 0.00001 or 5% of women out there who have something life-threatening that needs to have the procedure like this done. Now, like I said earlier, if you choose to do this and you want to do this, you do you. I mean, you do whatever you want as far as I'm concerned. But don't come back and sue the doctor in X number of years because you suddenly realized you made a mistake. Anyhow, here's the article here. Deciding not to have children was easy for Abby, but finding a doctor willing to perform the operation to sterilize her was difficult. She told BuzzFeed News that the biggest reasons why her doctors told her no was because that she was so young and they worried that one day she might change her mind and regret her decision. Abby doesn't worry that she'll ever regret her decision about having children. She explained, better to regret not having a kid than to... Wow. Better to regret not having a kid than to have one and regret it. And at the end of the day, if I regret it, I am the only one suffering for it, she added. I think a lot of people ignore the fact that sometimes people regret becoming parents. It's not uncommon, even if it is taboo to talk about. I honestly think we should talk about parental regret more instead of pretending that parenthood is perfect and magical. Well, we don't say parenthood is perfect and magical. No parent ever says this. So please provide evidence of that. Societal pressure to procreate hurts everybody. And maybe more parents could get help if we talked about it more. Many people on TikTok commented on Abby's video congratulating her. One person wrote, "Congrats, I really want to, but it's hard even asking how to start this process without everybody freaking out." Another comment reads, "I'll never understand why for them we are old enough to have kids, be married and work a 9-to-5 job, but not to decide to have children. Congrats." One mom wrote, I'm a mom and I want to say congratulations. Same way I was able to choose to have children, you should be able to choose not to and be respected to. Does it surprise you that it was so difficult for Abby to find a doctor willing to sterilize her? So it took me a little bit of time, but I found the original TikTok that she made here. And she says this exactly. I'm excited to take control of my own body. I am not a baby maker. Just think about that for a moment. I am not a baby maker. Who thinks that that's all women are? Who thinks that women are just baby makers and nothing else? This isn't a logical decision. This is an emotional decision based on what she currently wants, and she isn't thinking about what potentially might happen or what she potentially might want down the road. And you know what? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe she will have absolutely no regrets about this particular decision the entirety of her life. But to take the one thing that women can do that men cannot and completely destroy that, I don't know. It kind of makes one pause to think what's going on with all that? What's going on emotionally in that head of hers? Because a decision like this defies all logical thinking. I mean, when women say all day and all night that they want to achieve equality with men, that they want to be equal to men, even though as far as legally goes and all that good stuff, they are absolutely equal to men in today's day and age, regardless of what they like to say or think. But this is true equality on a level that you really don't think about. You took the one thing away that a woman can do that a man cannot, and you truly reached a level of equality here that I don't think you're going to see the ramifications of it until down the road here. And these are going to be negative consequences. I can't see anything positive coming from this. I'm not talking about her specifically. I'm talking about this way of thinking in general. I mean, imagine being a man and wanting to date a woman and not only having to ask them if they are actually biologically a woman, but asking them if they are capable of having children because they made the decision to destroy that ability in their lives. You know, and another part of this is she may have done her homework immediately. She may have been able to convince a doctor. Well, she did. She was able to convince a doctor that she really, honestly, and truly didn't want to have kids, at least for now at this portion of her life. But we know from numerous articles, from numerous women who have made regret stories, that they wish they never made a decision like this. And something else to consider, too. We know that once women go beyond that wall, once women reach that age where their SMV starts to go down, the drive for family goes up so much. And regardless of what she may say or think now, that 9 chances out of 10 is going to happen later on in her life, just like it happens with all women. It's not only illogical, but it's disingenuous to believe that it won't happen to her. She cannot say with absolute certainty that it will not happen because, as we know, it happens with most women. Now, like I said before, I ultimately don't care what you do. I mean, this actually is your body, you know. You're not affecting another human being, so you do you. You know, you do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But there are consequences to actions that you clearly haven't considered, especially when you consider what the majority of women desire down the road. You know, historically speaking, the United States has had sterilization programs. It has had forced sterilization in its history. I gotta be very careful how I say this here and what I say. Here in the United States, under the guise of women's liberation, we have destroyed more lives, more potential lives, if you don't believe that they're lives, more potential lives than you can possibly imagine. You know, like I said earlier, we went from, at a certain period, we went from forced sterilizations for one reason or another to an organization that was originally started. Man, I know I'm going to get dinged for this. That was originally started for the sole purpose of killing black babies. A lot of people don't realize this, but Planned Parenthood was started for that purpose. The founder of Planned Parenthood was publicly for everything from euthanasia to infanticide to forced sterilizations to the eradication of black babies. And that's something that is always conveniently left out when people reference Planned Parenthood. Anyhow, that's kind of off topic here and definitely is a video for another time. But we went from a period of forced sterilizations to, and originally when they realized what was going on, there was an outcry, there was uproar about it. But now we've gone to it being forced to now it being chosen under the guise of women's liberation. I mean, sit back and think about that here. We went from something that was forced at one point or another for nefarious purposes. There's no righteous reason to forcibly do that to somebody, especially forcibly do it against their will. But we've gone from that to, like I said, under the guise of women's liberation, women choosing this and thinking that their lives are going to be for the betterment of it, thinking that their lives are going to be made better because they cannot do the one thing that truly differentiates them, that truly makes them different from men. Anyhow, I just don't think that we have any true understanding where this line of thinking, this mentality, is going to lead us to down the road. And quite honestly, how could we? This type of thinking right now is so radical. I just don't see a positive net gain from this down the road. But hey, like I said, you do you. You have the liberty to choose and do what you want. Just be able to bear the consequences of it. I know this was a little different today. I kind of went off my usual here. This article just stood out to me, and I don't know, it kind of makes you think. Part of this women's liberation movement is, instead of forced sterilizations for one reason or another, and we're not the only country to have ever done that, but under the guise of women's liberation, it is now a positive thing to be free of potentially having children, even though scientifically, biologically, we know from anecdotal and scientific evidence that children truly fulfill women, especially at an older age. She did this at a young age, especially at an older age, more than just about anything else. It is a biological, innate desire to be mothers at one point or another. Anyhow, thank you for joining me today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and join me next time for another episode of Fallacious Truth. Thank you, and take care.